Okay, this is Shannon Rutherford. I'm the town planner for Farmington. This is Farmington Historic District Commission. We'll do roll call of the commission members. Joanne Lawson,
Here.
James Calciano,
Here.
Clifton Mix,
Here.
Michelle Phelan,
Here.
Jay Bombara,
Here.
Liz Gemsky,
Here.
Ted Sanford,
Here.
and John Renahan notified us ahead of time that he will not be in attendance. Thank you.
Great. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. This is Jay Bombara, Chairman. Since Michelle's not here, she may not have the notice in front of her, so I'll ask the Vice Chair to read the notice of the first public hearing.
Notice
Did I
is-
miss, hang on a second, did I miss something?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Notice is hereby given that the Farmington Historic District Commission will hold a hybrid / in-person and online public hearing on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023 at 5 p.m. in Town Hall Council Chambers on the following application. Miss Porter's school application for temporary certificate of appropriateness to add an aerator with lighting to Swan Pond at 75 Garden Street, also known as 44 Main Street.
Are we good? You want the rest?
Okay, no, that's fine. And the rest of the notice is on the screen for the recording. Thank you.
Okay. Great. I see today we have Jackie Murray from Miss Porter's here. Would the applicant like to come up and provide a brief presentation of what they're looking for as far as a certificate of appropriateness?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Jackie Murray on behalf of Miss Porter's School. This is for our Swan Pond, 44 Main Street on our Miss Porter's campus. We are looking to add an aerator to the pond for several reasons, both to help the health of the pond, but also for aesthetics. As you'll see in the application that was sent over, there is lighting that comes with the aerator. It's completely programmable lighting. It can be turned on, it can be turned off. There's several colors that we can choose from. They would not be on the entire time. There's also different flow patterns that you can choose from. So if you look through the application, the one that we are hoping to do is the Medina flow pattern, which is under the straightened flow patterns.
Okay.
And this would not be in the full year as well. It would just go in during the warmer months and then it could be removed.
Okay, I'll ask, are there any questions, comments? Joanne?
Joanne Lawson, yeah. I did have a couple of questions. My first one, is there an algae problem? Because you haven't had the pond for very long, have you?
I believe the pond has been there for a while and yes, there is an algae problem.
Oh,
Yeah, we've actually have been working to clean up the pond and this will help to make the algae better.
okay. And then I guess you don't have to have the lights. They come with the package, but you don't have to use them.
We don't have to use them. No, it's programmable.
Okay.
We would like to sometimes because I think it would look really pretty, but no, it does not always have to be on.
I just noted, I drove by there the other day, that it seems like the water level in that pond is really, really low. Is that on purpose during the winter or?
It's like that during the winter and in the warmer months, the water level
Okay.
does increase significantly.
Okay, just curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, I've noticed over the years that there's an algae problem there. Some real nice cattails grow in there.
Yes.
I noticed they put a filter trap rock. So I think some drainage comes in there, doesn't it, from the
I believe so. Yes.
that's what I thought. So it's probably a good idea to do that. Are there any other plantings you put in there, like the cattails allowed to come back? No, you've weeded that out. I see that.
Yeah, as part of the
Rich,
Excuse me.
sorry, you're gonna have to
only
come up
because
to
we
the,
have people
the
on
mic, Rich.
online and they can't hear you unless you're speaking into the microphone. And if you could identify yourself and
Sure.
an address.
Rich Higley, Miss Porter School, also 292 Scott Swamp in Farmington. So the last project we did, we actually cleared the pond out and we did the plantings, but as part of that, we're controlling the invasive plants and trees. We took a lot of that out. So part of that project is the actual fountain itself, and then the same company that's managed it with us will install and remove the fountain each year.
The, wasn't there lighting there before? I always remember some lighting down there.
Not that I'm aware
No.
of. My wife talks about Swan Pond when she was a kid and there were swans in it, but that was a long time ago, so.
Well, okay, I personally like that lighting, albeit probably, you know, it's some hours it should shut off, but that's all I have to say.
Ed?
I don't have any questions.
Liz?
That's a natural pond? It wasn't man-made or was it?
I believe it's a natural pond. Yes, it's always been there. And Miss Porter's has actually invested a lot over the years to
Yeah.
increase the health of the pond.
Yeah, so the last project.
Yeah, it looks beautiful now.
It does. I will say, I have a postcard from about 1906. It calls it the Swan Pond. So
Oh, yeah.
it's been there at least 100 years, 120 years, but who knows what Ms. Porter's did. I'm sure it's been altered at times, but it is a nice feature. I don't have any additional questions. Is there anybody online? And Shannon, can you handle that?
If anyone's called in to comment on the application, please raise your hand in Zoom and you'll be acknowledged. We do have Brian Connolly. Brian, you can unmute your microphone and address the commission.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I just had a quick question. I love the idea. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just curious to know, would those lights be viewable by any of the homes in the area?
I suspect that the houses on Garden Street would see it. We do have homes right across the street. A lot of them are Porter's homes, not all of them. There are some Farmington residents that live there. But the school would be mindful of that and they would not be on all hours of the night, 24/7.
You're in
We
the
would
loop.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would there be any value in reaching out to those neighbors and letting them know?
That's my question.
We could
Oh,
definitely
sorry,
do
I
that.
forgot Michelle. We'll get to you, Michelle. Sorry. I think Brian just to ask, have you reached out to any of the neighbors to ask them what they might think?
We have not yet, but we can certainly do that.
Well, and some of them would have been notified as part of this meeting.
That's what
So
I
anyone
thought.
that's an immediate abutter
Abutters would have been.
would have been notified.
Yep.
So, and that's.
Wonderful. That was my only
That's to
question.
the 44 Main Street property.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's a large property. So that's it's the full 44 Main Street property. So the abutter list is rather substantial.
Okay.
No one posed.
Yeah, this is Michelle. That was going to be my question, just notification of the neighbors, assuming that they did get the letter that, you know, for the hearing. My husband and I walk by there a few times a week, and the upgrades to the pond area and the plantings are really very, very nice. And maybe just as a cross check with the neighbors, there are some private residences in view of I believe that can see the pond. I would think they would like it. It's beautiful, but just to double check with them would probably be a good idea. And then my other concern was just the lighting and mindfulness of the neighbors. But it seems like if you can program that and keep it under control, that would be terrific. It looks really good. In fact, I want to steal from some of the ideas for the plantings for my own yard. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Is there anybody else online? And then I'm going to ask Shannon a question about lighting.
So again, anyone else that's called in, raise your hand using the feature in Zoom and you'll be acknowledged to address the commission. Mr. Chair, there's no other hands raised and there's no one else in the gallery present.
Okay, thank you. The issues have been raised about lighting. Some of us were here probably when we've had other issues with lighting and it's not necessarily, and unless Shannon corrects me, a black and white about who has control over lighting. Is it the planning and zoning, and to what extent, if any, does historic district have control over lighting? So Shannon, I'm wondering if you had any thoughts or comments on that?
So you're right. It's not necessarily, there's a combination of responsibility between Historic District and TPZ. This is going to Wetlands Commission, but they're looking at it from an environmental standpoint, which is different. The thoughts with lighting, honestly, would be with my thought is with Historic District, if you have thoughts on the color intensity or hours of operation as suggestions, I think that would be appropriately discussed here. But that's my thoughts on it.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, I assume it's going to be uplighting from the water up. So we're not going to get cascading, spreading out. So yeah, I think that should help a lot too.
Anybody else on lighting or
Lighting
suggestions?
is what kind of concerns me because I'm sorry, I think if you have algae, the aeration is good to keep the algae down, but you don't need the lights. And I keep thinking of Bellagio, sorry. And you wouldn't want to keep them on all night for frogs, birds flying over, get confused, I understand, and
Sure. And I think that's why it's so great that it is programmable. We have total control over when that light is on. And I think, correct, I mean, I don't think this is going to be an every single night event. I think if we have parents on campus or our students are coming back or there's an event, it would be lovely to have it on, but I don't foresee this being an every night event or at 3 o'clock in the morning either.
I mean, what have we said, no later than a certain time? Is there something that would work?
Like 4 to 10.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, somebody's gonna make a motion here in a second, maybe when you make a motion, whoever that might be. Yeah, the motion includes a limit that the lights be on no later than 10 at any time. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I do, I trust the school, but yeah, we're all professionals and worry that, there can still be disputes, and we hate to have this become an issue for anybody, but it seems to me they're off by 10 and the lights, as you've said, they're coming up. It's really not going to be much coming off of the area. You'll see it, but you won't, it won't be coming into your room or anything. Does anybody else have any more thoughts or comments on this? Does someone want to make a motion that we approve this certificate of appropriateness with a condition?
I'll make a motion that we offer a temporary certificate of appropriateness in Miss Porter School for an aerator with uplighting to operate no later than 10 p.m. at night.
There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. Michelle, you're voting on this.
Yes. Yes, I'll second that.
Oh, it's okay. You didn't have to. I just wanted to make sure you were aware.
Yeah, no, yes, I'll second that.
So we have a motion. We have a second. Is there further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, motion passes. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Put the agenda back up. I didn't print a copy. So
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Let's see here.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna have to train my eye as to which screen I'm looking at,
Right.
but yes, here. So there's the agenda.
Okay, I don't see much, but other business,
So I've got two things for you under staff report. that
Okay.
We had,
I'm assuming you're gonna cover what you mentioned to me previously.
correct, yeah.
Does anybody have any other comments or concerns they want to bring up today? Okay, Shannon?
Okay, the first item has to do with the First Church on Main Street and their existing sign at the corner of School Street and Main Street. And currently there are two panels, one for the Village Trader and then one for First Church itself. And they're looking to add a panel for the Village Nursery School. So as we scroll down through, so you've got the Village Trader, the First Church of Christ. The panel below would be for the Village Nursery School.
Oh.
And Biff included some photos for me. Sorry, I did not rotate those, but Village Trader, the First Church, and then right underneath would be the nursery school. And then any of the temporary signs for the nursery school would then be removed. The one sign for the nursery school that's kind of at the top of School Street as you're coming right into the front of Noah Wallace, that one would stay. And that one, we have a file on, a permit on file for that nursery school, sign. This sign here at the corner, both Sandy and I have searched, done an exhaustive search of our files for 75 Main Street and 67 Main Street, which is the address for Porter's Memorial. We've checked TPZ, we've checked Historic District, nothing. All we can figure is that perhaps it predated zoning, or it was there. Some form of sign was there at the time that the Historic District was created in 55. And therefore perhaps it's just evolved over time, and hasn't risen to the level of a permit, and perhaps that's why we don't have anything on file. But both of us spent a couple of hours going through files, and we don't have anything TPZ or Historic District. So this will go to TPZ as a full permit because of the additional square footage. They're slated to discuss it this coming Monday evening. Because of the timing of when Biff shared it with me, it wasn't able to be on tonight's agenda. I also didn't know if it necessarily warranted a full COA application if the panel is going to come on and be just like the other panels and match. So it's the same 3x3 black frame with pretty much black and white writing. You'll see there's the little green for the Village Nursery School, where the other two panels are all black and white, but primarily keeping with the theme that's already in place and the size and scale of what's already in place. So really what I have for a question for you is whether or not any of you feel a COA is warranted for adding this panel. If it is, then obviously we'll have them come in. They'll come in April then.
Yeah, I think I'll just poll people for their thoughts. I mean, I won't necessarily lead. I mean, Liz, do you have any thoughts strongly one way or the other?
Well, if I go based on kind of how we ruled on these things in the past, I think we've said we'd want it to come before us as well. Right, I mean, that's been our practice.
Ed?
I agree. That has been what we've done in the past.
Okay, seems like we're getting.
I think this is an improvement over a temporary sign. I would have no issue with it, but I think we have to kind of stick with our precedent.
Jen, any thoughts?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. Michelle, do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree with the others. I also think that it almost establishes a precedent too for the signage going forward. For that signage, since there's nothing that can be found, now we have at least a start place for it.
Yep. Okay, I would agree with all that's been said too. So Shannon, can you ask them to make an application?
Absolutely. Yep.
Great.
No, that's fine. No problem.
Thank you.
The other item to just share with everybody is we've had the new homeowners of 9 Waterville Road, formerly Katie Bradley's home. Now it's Katie and Jared Ritter, have submitted an application to enter the home and property into the Historic District.
Wonderful.
So she came into the office, which was nice. I had a chance to chat with her. I explained that I would let all of you know at this meeting and perhaps give everyone a month or two to see if the commission members can perhaps drum up anyone else that may be interested in joining the commission. And then we'll embark on a expansion report and SHPO review and approval and go through like we did for the other 2 properties earlier this year, or I guess at the end of last year.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as you point out, I mean, as some of you may or not know or remember that you were here or not, but we did add, there's actually 3 properties now on Waterville Road. This will be a 4th. This was the Noah Wallace area where he did a lot of the building of these in the early 20th century, on spec and made money, but they're wonderful houses. So I would encourage us to continue to look, and I don't know, people are on here. This is how we do it. It's a retail effort. You really have to know somebody and be willing to talk to them about it. If anybody thinks they may know of somebody that's interested and they can reach out, that's great. If they would like me to or somebody else, let me know. But one of the selling points that you can offer is there is what they call SHPO money. And so if you do improvements to your house, you can actually get, I forget what the rebate is on it, but up to 80 or 90% of the cost back. If your house is in the historic district, I believe that's still correct. Shannon will correct me.
It varies at times, right,
Okay.
depending upon. the
But I
funding.
think perhaps because I know that the neighbor did get some of that, that may be one motivation for these people, which is great. In addition to really respecting the community and the historical nature of this area. So again, by this retail effort that we're making and the generosity of people, we've really built an incredible, what I think is a national treasure, not just a Connecticut or regional treasure. So again, if anybody has any ideas, or their house isn't in it. I don't know if anybody's house here isn't in it, but let me know or please let Shannon know. We can work on people and hopefully get a couple more. And by the way, I will say it is a lot of work amongst all the things that the staff is doing to do this. Does require even more, and they do give it the proper priority, and I really appreciate that. So it would be nice to have at least one or two more houses because it's easier to do bunches rather than one-offs. So anything you can do would be great. Anybody else want to comment on this? Okay.
Okay, and that's all I had this evening.
Okay, I think the last thing is the minutes. I have looked at them. I didn't have any comments. Anybody comments?
I have a comment. How are we doing on the door? On the
Our
big,
Harper Baking Company, I can ask him. I think I've sent him an email asking about an ETA, and I'm pretty sure I did not get a response.
okay, we have, is it time for our fines to start kicking in? What do you
I
think?
think he had said it was a 5 or 6 month lead time. I think he had until May.
We got-
Shannon, why don't you, if you could take a look at that, if you think it's appropriate to put it on our agenda and give them a notice.
We just
why don't
vote on it now. We don't get it.
I
by
think,
May?
no, I think you need to give
It's
them
an
notice.
enforcement- It's
There's-
an enforcement, so
there's
it's
certain
a
hoops we have
zoning
to jump
enforcement matter, so we'll.
I agree with that.
He's
But
been.
there's legal notice, which is sometimes
Oh,
different than
it's a
practical
legal.
notice. Yeah.
Okay.
But no, that's a good point to put that up. Back to the minutes, anybody, any comments? Or changes? No. Anybody, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of January 17, 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'll get to Cliff, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's all set. Thank you. And I guess that's it. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody, again.
All right.
Thank you.